Hey everybody, it's Leroy with Leroy Gaming, and in today's Baldurs Gate 3 guide, we're going to look at the way of the Open Hand Subclass for the Monk. We're going to cover features at level 1 of character creation, including ability recommendations, give you a full level 2 to 12 breakdown. I will also provide you with general equipment recommendations and my thoughts on multiclassing as the way of the Open Hand Monk. You can use timestamps below to jump to areas that most interest you. And remember to drop a like and leave a comment below with your thoughts, feedback, and questions. And now without further ado, let's check out the way of the Open Hand Monk. Alright guys, here we are at level 1, and important things to note about the Monk is that its primary ability is Dexterity, but Wisdom will be also highly necessary. You're going to have saving throw proficiencies, which are Strength and Dexterity. You have a hit die of 1d8 per monk level. And you're going to have proficiency with simple weapons and short swords. Now, although we do not pick our subclass at level 1, you will unlock quite a few basic features for the monk. You're going to unlock the key feature, which is a resource you're going to use to power your monk abilities. You're going to get unarmored defense, so your wisdom modifier is added to your armor class as long as you're not wearing armor. And this is in addition to the bonus from dexterity. You're going to get dexterous attack, so your unarmed attacks can scale with dexterity instead of strength if your dexterity is higher. You also get death strikes, so attacking with monk weapons and unarmed attacks deal 1 to 4 bludgeon damage unless your normal damage is higher, and this will increase as you level up. And you have bonus unarmed strike. This is important because after making an attack with a monk weapon or while unarmed, you can make another unarmed attack as a bonus action. So even at level 1, you're going to be able to get a bonus attack in. Now alternatively, or in combination, you can also use your Flurry of Blows ability. This is a bonus action that uses key points, and when you utilize it, you're going to punch twice in quick succession. So at level 1, you can do your main attack, and if you use a key point with your bonus action, you can get 2 more attacks, so you can get a total of 3 strikes in 1 round, even at level 1 with a monk. Now the monk is definitely multi-attribute dependent, MAD as it's called. You definitely want to have high dexterity and wisdom, and also need constitution. So the setup I recommend to go with is 8 strength, 17 dexterity, and you're definitely going to want to utilize the hag interaction to save her to get the extra bonus point in dexterity, so you can get this to 18. Highly recommend that. Do check out a search for a video for that. And then 14 constitution, since you're going to be frontline fighting. 8 intelligence, 16 wisdom, and 10 charisma is recommended. Although you could swap the 10 charisma for either 10 intelligence or strength, depending on your setup. Now at level 2, you're going to get an additional key point, and you're going to get unarmored movement. So your movement actions are going to allow you to move 3 extra meters, as long as you're not wearing armor or using a shield. You're also going to get 3 more key abilities. Patient defense. When you activate this as a bonus action, attack rolls against you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on dexterity saving throws. It lasts 1 round. Step of the Wind dash. It's going to double your movement, and jumps no longer require a bonus action. And then Step the Wind disengage. It allows you to disengage. Jump no longer requires a bonus action either. And remember, disengage means that you can retreat safely without triggering attacks of opportunity. At level 3, you're going to get to pick your specialization, and we're picking Way of the Open Hand. You're going to get another key point. You're also going to get Deflect Missile. And the way this works is when something shoots you, you're going to be able to use a reaction to reduce the damage that you take from that attack. The calculation is 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level. And if it happens that that number gets reduced to 0, you can choose to use a key point to deflect the missile back at the enemy, up to 18 meters. You're also going to get 3 different specialized flurry of blows: topple, stagger, and push. And these are basically like the basic flurry of blows, but in addition to the attacks, they will also either knock an enemy prone, stagger them, or push them back, and it costs the same 1 key point. So it basically is a full replacement for the basic flurry of blows. At level 4, you're going to get another key point. You're going to get slow fall. So when you fall, you can use your reaction to gain resistance to fall damage. This is not necessarily the best way to use your reaction unless you get knocked off or pushed down and are going to take a ton of damage. So very situational, but it could be helpful. Now when it comes to the monk, ability improvement is extremely important here. Using ability improvement to get your dexterity to 20 and then potentially 2 more times to get your wisdom to 20 is extremely viable. However, I will point out that if you wanted to do an alternative setup where you actually go for a strength monk, and there are builds out there for that, then Tavern Brawler becomes very viable, because when you make an unarmed attack, it lets you use your strength modifier and add it twice for both damage and attack rolls. So this can make your melee hits extremely hard with unarmed attacks, but again, it does require a completely different setup. For the average player, I would probably recommend utilizing the ability increase 3 times to max out dexterity and wisdom. You could alternatively also put some point into constitution, but that's probably the best for this class. At level 5, you're going to get another key point. You're going to get an extra melee attack every turn. And then you're going to get 2 new abilities, Stunning Strike Melee and Stunning Strike Unarmed. And in both cases, it utilizes the normal attack, but it gives you the chance to stun an enemy. And if they get stunned, they can't move or take actions, bonus actions, or reactions. And it does use a key point, so this would be an alternative to your Flurry of Blows. I'm not a huge fan of this. I normally just use Flurry of Blows for maximum damage, but it is an option. Level 6 is probably the biggest level for the monk. You're going to get a key point. You're going to get improved unarmed movement. So now it's 4.5 meters boost instead of 3. You now have key empowered strikes, which is very important because your unarmed attacks count as magical for the purpose of overcoming enemy resistances and immunities to non-magical damage. And then you're gonna get manifestation of body, mind, and soul, and they all work the same. These are passive abilities that you can activate on your passive bar, and it's gonna make so each of your unarmed attacks are going to do an extra 4 to 7 either necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, and you can change this at any time, so it's a significant boost to your damage. And you're going to get the amazing wholeness of body action. When you utilize this, you're going to heal, you're going to regain half your key points, and very importantly, you're going to enter a temporary state of wholeness where you regain key points, which is basically 1 per turn, and have an extra bonus action, and it lasts 3 turns. This does stack with the haste spell, so this allows you to get an ungodly amount of attacks. It's not unusual to see monks, especially ones that multi-class of rogues, to get 10 or 11 or in some rare cases up to 12 attacks per round. At level 7, the monk's going to get another key point. You're going to get evasion. So this is important because when a spell or effect would deal half damage to you on a successful dexterity throw, instead you're going to do no damage to you. And even if you fail, you still take only half damage. And then you're going to get stillness of mind. Basically, if you do at any point get charmed or frightened, you automatically cast stillness of mind to remove the condition. So for all intents and purposes, you're immune to being charmed and frightened. At level 8, you're going to get another key point, and you're going to pick another feat, and again, highly recommend upping your stats. At level 9, you're going to get an additional key point. You're going to get advanced unarmed movement. And at this point, difficult terrain no longer slows you down. You can also jump an additional 6 meters while you are not wearing armor or using a shield. And then you're going to get Key Resonation Punch. So what happens here is you're going to hit a creature, and it's going to have the resonate effect. So the key within an affected entity is resonating with a monk's. The monk can use a key resonate blast to make it explode. So basically, this marks an enemy. You could basically mark multiple enemies, and then you can use key resonate blast, which basically it does 3d6 force damage. It detonates the key of the creature resonating with you, hitting a creature and anyone within 5 meters of it. And the resulting explosion causes any nearby creature resonating with you to also detonate. So it can create a chain reaction. Now do note, you can do the key resonation with both your main abilities and also with bonus attacks. So if you have numerous bonus actions, you could spread the resonation on 2, 3, maybe even 4 potentially creatures, then use the key resonation blast to just blow everybody up. Level 10, you're going to get an additional key point. Improved unarmed movement, so now your movement speed increases by 6 meters while you are not wearing armor or using shield. You get purity of body. You're immune to poison damage and can't be poisoned or affected by disease. At level 11, you're going to get another key point, and you're going to get tranquility. Long rests surround you with an aura of peace, and it grants you sanctuary. So what sanctuary does is, affected entity can't be targeted by enemy attacks or spells. However, it can still take damage from spells that influence a large area. Condition ends if the affected entity attacks or harms another creature. And finally, at level 12, you're going to get an additional key point, and you're going to get your final feat. Alright, now let's go ahead and talk about equipment for the Way of the Open Hand Monk. When it comes to your main armor, you're not going to wear traditional armor, but you can get clothing that is meant for monks that can impact you in numerous positive ways and also increase your armor class, such as the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation here. You can get a variety of gloves that will just increase your unarmed damage. In this case, we have the Gauntlets of the Tyrant that add 1 to 4 force damage and may also give you other benefits. There's a ton of different ones of this that you're going to find throughout the game, and early on you can get ones that just add 1 to 4 damage to your attacks, and you can start wearing that as soon as possible. I love Boots of the Uninhibited Kushigo. This is going to make it so that you do additional damage equal to your Wisdom modifier with unarmed strikes. This is another reason why you will want to get Wisdom to 18 or even possibly 20. And if you do things right, you can actually have 20 Wisdom and 20 Dexterity and get a massive plus 10 to your unarmed attacks. Cloak, I recommend Cloak of Protection. And then when it comes to your rings and amulets, etc., definitely find items that are going to support your playstyle. You can get rings that will increase your armor class. You can get amulets that help you, teleport, like add Misty Steps is one of my go-to favorites. Anything that's going to help you survive, stay as mobile as possible, and boost your unarmed attacks is going to be viable. You can get a bow just to increase your stats and resistances. And while you can use a quarterstaff if you find one that is specific to unarmed combat and monk combat, and there are a couple in the game, but if you don't find them, don't worry about just having full unarmed setups where you don't put anything in your hands. That's perfectly fine. Alright, and then finally let's talk about multiclassing. Monks are great to multiclass. As I mentioned in the level up part of the video, at level 6 you get your biggest boost of power. So I always recommend to go at least 6 levels in a monk if you are going to go with this subclass. And then you multiclass really well with the Thief Rogue because they get an extra bonus attack that can be used for anything. You get that at level 3, and you can flip that into an extra flurry of blows every single turn. So very, very powerful. You could easily go 8 levels of monk, 4 levels of rogue, and that's probably my top recommendation if you're going to multi-class. Alright guys, I hope you guys found this Way of the Open Hand subclass for the monk video helpful. If you did, make sure to drop a like. If you want to see more videos from me and be informed, make sure to subscribe. And as always guys, thank you for all your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.